gigabit connection like I have, and suddenly you put that through Tor, that's where the bottleneck is. But other than that, it's just Firefox, which I'm used to every day.
There's been this this new thing that I've been trying to solve. It's these hotel networks, because nothing works on them. Like you can't use like Chromecast, and your devices can't discover each other. I'm thinking about maybe like setting up a little mini network when I get into a hotel room. But I wonder how that would affect VoIP. I wonder if that would add extra delay. Because one of the things that one of the hotels I've been staying at recently has on the TV is you can log into your Netflix and your YouTube account into the TV. And then they claim when you check out, they wipe the credentials. But that's a little iffy. Like it feels a little iffy to me. It feels like, because that's my Google account, that's a big one to be just like logging into a hotel TV with. So I'd rather bring my own device that is logged in, like an NVIDIA Shield or something that's logged in. But
I remember Alan coming back from Japan with loads of those little mini router plugs and stuff. Maybe something like that would work.
Maybe. I'm worried about it affecting VoIP quality, though. Like adding extra NAT, double NAT kind of thing.
Right, and maybe you have to set up something to bypass that. Maybe the thing you VoIP with stays on the main network and then a separate entertainment network. But yeah, a little router. I have like a kind of, I think it's even just a wireless N old router. It's not super tiny. You'd probably want a smaller one, but I've brought that before just for the same purpose. Yeah.
Yeah. Did you ever end up signing into the hotel TV stuff?
Mm-hmm.
You did?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did the Netflix, but I share it from a friend's account, so I endangered his credentials, not mine.
Hey, good. That's not a bad idea. Like a hotel burner login.
Oh, yeah. There you go.
Boy, that is way simpler than anything else I've been thinking about. That is way simpler. That's a way easier idea. I was going for like some sophisticated, like, dedicated NVIDIA Shield setup or something.
I mean, that's more fun. So don't let me stop you.
Yeah, that's true.
It's fun to skirt around things, right?
It is. Exactly. Captain's log, start date 2.
Sometimes you can do stuff too for those, like you can clone Macs or other things to try to get around portals or.
Yeah.
For your Google account, can't you just create an app-specific password and then just use it one time and throw it away?
So the thing is like and maybe this isn't a big vulnerability, but like it's like the way they do it is you pair, like you go to like a URL. Like I go on my phone, I go to like google.com/ or youtube.com/pair, and then they just give you a code. Like you log in on the phone with your full Google account, and they give you a code, and then you enter that code into the TV, and it matches up your account. But then you are fully authenticated. Like it's, it says, my Google name at gmail.com when I open up the chat. Or when I open up YouTube. That was weird.
That is weird.
Yeah, it's I don't know, but I like it too because like then I get my YouTube recommendations and I get my Netflix and stuff. So, is the YouTube stream coming up, chat room? It says it's just spinning over here for me on Restreamio. It says it's just spinning.
I got the notification that it was.
Oh, okay,
up,
good.
But let me check.
It works, sir.
All right, good. Restreamio says it's not up yet, but what does it know? It's just my stream provider. Wait, what?
What? They're your stream facilitator, Chris, and there's no guarantees about the quality of your service.
Wow, that is probably somewhere in their terms of service. They should write that for them if it's not. That was pretty good.
YouTube on my Ubuntu computer says it's up and plays the stream.
All right. So what do you guys think if Jupiter Broadcasting, what do you got here? Oh, yeah. Okay, good. If Jupiter Broadcasting were to start, releasing software, small scripts and stuff like that, what license should we use?
MIT.
BSD.
I was thinking BSD was what.
BSD.
I mean, I don't think we've
Screw those guys.
You haven't really communicated what the purpose is or what your value you want. Like, do you want to give it out, or is reciprocation important to you? What are the limits of what you find ethical, or at least how you want to contribute to the community?
Hello, Rodden. Good to see you.
Hello. Mozilla license.
Doesn't it depend on what other software you're going to be combining it with? Like if you're going to be using AGPL stuff, then you're pretty much going to be stuck using that, right?
Right.
I mean, it depends on if we're talking about linking or just scripts that include compiled programs, or there's. Yeah.
You should totally use the JSLint Don't Be Evil license.
You could do the
It's always a
The
good idea to
ABS
make your
license.
own homebrew license, right? So we'll make a JB license, and it's going to have several weird clauses.
No,
That's
it's
true. We
Must
should,
watch
right?
Jupiter Broadcasting programming at least one show per week.
You can do
Yeah,
the
that's good.
ABRMS one.
Yeah, oh, that'd be good too. That'd be good too. Yeah, we could come up with the what the FPL. That's not bad. That's not bad.
Have you seen the Anyone But Stallman license?
Oh my God, are you serious?
Yeah,
Are
it's
you-
a thing.
Oh God,
That's gold.
that is gold.
I want that. That's pretty good. Boy, that's gonna be hard to beat. That's tricky. That is. That kind of. I was thinking like something that we totally just made up out of our own butts, but it would basically just be the AGPL. Is what I was thinking. Mr. James, hello. Do you hear me and do I hear you? I don't hear you yet. Check your inputs. If you end up changing your inputs in the Chrome web app there, you have to refresh your page.
Yeah, they have a little button for it.
Hello everybody in the mobile room. Brent, hello. Good to see you. Hello,
Hey, good
sir.
seeing you guys.
We have a good showing in the mumble room
We sure
today.
do. It's nice to see all of you,
Hello everybody.
even though you probably can't hear me very well.
Oh yeah, sorry about that. Yeah.
I should just steal an interface and this microphone and sit out there and connect
Right.
to the mumble room.
Yeah, really. Or just give yourself like a back channel feed. So I'm still not hearing Anthony. You can check it. You can let's see. You see in that there Chrome web page, there's your inputs you can mess around with. You can also check in your system settings if your mic audio is coming in. You got time though. We're in no rush. Take your time. Just sitting here. I'll be standing, so the energy should be good. I got myself several beverages of different varying quality.
Oh, all the
Are
quality.
you allowed to stand?
Yeah, I'm supposed to be standing more than I'm supposed to be sitting because it prevents blood
All right.
clots. Yeah.
Are you allowed to beverage?
Not very much other than water, but making not a big exception, but a small exception for today's show. Just a small exception.
And so, what's your lineup?
Well, it's just a sugar-free small Red Bull and water. It's not very exciting. It's not.
But that's what it takes to get shit done.
Still no levels from you. What's going on there? Let's see.
It wouldn't be an Unplugged if we didn't have to do some amount
That's
of
true.
troubleshooting.
That's true.
It's the spirit of Linux, folks.
Yeah. You see. Oh, you know what? Yeah, let's see here. And I should double check, make sure we are good on the audio here. See, maybe if I do a test, will I be able to hear it? Yeah, all right. So I'm going to mess with that too, because we could have double audio. It has been a day for strange audio interface problems.
Why?
Yeah. So it's
Even on my end, I've got this weird problem that I don't know. I've tried different inputs and it just comes and goes.
Yeah.
So hopefully we're not going to have this kind of noise.
everything's been solid, but there we go. Yeah. So there, I got the audio. Yeah. So it's good.
We should check and make sure there's plenty of space on this guy here.
Oh, you think so?
Yeah.
Let's see where you do that. There is this. I think the recordings go to. I'm not quite sure. You might check.
4.8.
Oh yeah, that's getting low.
I guess we could.
Oh, I heard you for a second. Let's see. Hello. Here we go.
That sounds like something.
Here we go.
Hello?
Hello. Hi there. I can hear I hear the speakers a little bit coming back. Oh, I got a little me coming back through your speakers. Oh my.
But can you hear me first?
Yeah, I hear
Are
you.
you talking about me?
I hear
Okay,
you,
yeah,
but I
can
also
fix-
hear me.
I can fix that. Just give that. Yeah, that's a problem I can fix. Give me 1 second.
Right on. So should we just delete the old stuff here? Because I don't want to run out of disk space.
Yeah.
Let's see. What do you think?
Yeah, I G-zipped some while you're gone because I didn't know if you wanted them or not.
Oh,
But
yeah,
we
no.
could just delete a
No,
bunch of.
no, I don't want them. Delete them. Get rid of them. Is that not the right? Oh, there it is. All right. So yeah, that should be fine. Just delete a whole bunch of stuff. What could go wrong?
Yeah.
I'll just run this little delete command. And,
No undo.
Trash cans are for suckers. All right, now we got 50 gigs for you. That's way better.
Now, don't talk too much today, everyone. We have 50 gigs free, so.
Keep it brief so that way we can fit it all in. All right, now I don't hear myself coming back. I think you got it dialed in there, Anthony. I think it's dialed in. Dial in.
Dial in.
So I bypassed staging. Can anyone tell me if I sound okay today?
You do sound okay today.
Okay, good, because the my mixer spent the last 5 days in a duffel bag in the back of my Jeep.
Oh, really? Yeah, there is always that moment. It's like, is this gonna work? Yeah.
Basically hooked everything back in.
Yeah, you can come.
You mustn't do it. It's wrong.
Your audio could come up just a hair, but yeah, you're good.
Bump it.
Could use a little more levels from you, Anthony. Just a little more levels. Need more snare.
Of course, I don't all days.
There you go. It's getting better. It's getting better. Maybe you just got to work it close. That might be it. You just might have to work it close.
All that proximity effect.
Yeah, a little more cowbell.
This is egregious.
Maybe the studio needs a cowbell. We can hang it on the wall.
Oh my gosh. We do need a cowbell.
Why not, right?
We do need a cowbell. Or at least a soundboard clip of one.
Yeah, that's a reasonable way to start.
Jeez,
okay. Fine.
I'd feel a lot better with cowbell.
Yeah, I agree.
And the value of this is negative.
All right, so I think you're getting there. I think you just about got it there.
Am I good? Or you want me to try another thing?
Oh, no, you're a little loud now. You're a little loud. Too much. Just a little too much. It's how it always goes, right?
Yeah.
That's how it goes. Chat, Mumble Room, say hello to Anthony, the CEO of Linux Academy. He's on today.
What's up, buddy?
That's Mumble right there.
Hello, hello.
Yeah.
Hey, how you doing?
I saw a video where it looked like Chris was the CEO.
That's all in good time. All in good time. It's all part of a master.
I'm trying to get out of here.
Oh, jeez, what have I gotten myself into?
I'll let you do it.
All right. Well, good. So we're about to do the intro. You'll be muted during the intro for a little bit while the music's playing. It's going to be a little loud on your end because the music's mixed loud for some reason to the remote host. So I apologize, everybody, if the music's a little loud for you. Rest assured, it's quite pleasant for Wes and I.
Oh, it's lovely. Just perfect, Chris.
Yeah, so that's good. All right.
And I'll fix it in post.
Yep, Joe takes care of it for the rest of you. Well, that's what matters, right? As long as Wes and I enjoy ourselves. All right, so everybody arm your seats, get yourselves ready. We're going to capture a little noise here for a moment. Joe, are you ready with your recorder, sir?
Yeah, I have been recording already, but I don't know if we're going to use any of that.
All right, well, so I'm recording on this end, so everybody kind of sit still for a second. Don't move, don't breathe, don't fart. We're going to be capturing your ambient sound. So we want the room tone, not you. So in 3, 2. All right, pretty good. Pretty good. I think someone let that one go, but that's pretty good.
That happens every time.
Moving and clicking.
Yeah, there's a little moving and clicking in there. I know. But you know what, Joe? I believe in you. So I'm pretty confident in your capability.
You get what you get.
All right, so let's see. Well, the only other thing I want to do is I want to add a compressor to Anthony. There we go. Boom. All right, sure. We got a mild compressor there now. We got a mild compressor out there. We got me, got you, got Joe, we got Joe, got Wes. Man, this is quite the production.
It really is.
Exciting.
Yeah, there's a lot going on.
This is exciting. All right, well, hold on here. Let me lock it down. We're going into intro mode. Stand by, everybody. So, Anthony, I'll bring you in right after I introduce the Mumble Room. So, it'll be Wes and I will say hi. We'll bring in Joe, and then we'll bring in the Mumble Room, and then we'll bring in you. So, you'll go with the flow. You'll get it. Here we go. And muting. Wow.
So many buttons.
That's a lot. I'm going to have to undo all of that during the music. That's a lot for my sick brain. All right, here we go. It is the Unplugged program. Hey, full-time podcaster Wes Payne.
Oh, hello there, Chris.
Are you ready to do a Linux Unplugged program, Mr. Full-time Podcaster?
Like we've never done before.
This is Linux Unplugged, episode 266 for September 11th, 2018. Ooh, welcome to Linux Unplugged, your weekly Linux talk show that's not just covering the news this week, we're making a bit of news. My name is Chris.
My name is Wes.
And Joe's here too. Yo, Joe!
Hello.
Hello, guys. First of all, thank you for covering for me last week. Much appreciated. Much appreciated. We're back. I'm back. It's a full team this week because we have a lot to get into. We have some major announcements that I am so excited to share with you. I have been resurrected from the hospital bed and transported into the studio just to make this very announcement. Plus, we'll be getting into some community news later on in the show. So before we go any further, let's bring in that virtual lug. Time-appropriate greetings, Mumble Room. Hey, hey.
Pip, pip.
Hey.
Woo!
Listen to that.
That is a showing.
Wow.
That is a showing. And it's been a long time since I've been able to say this. Joining us this week on the program is the CEO of Linux Academy, Mr. Anthony James. Hello, Anthony.
Hey, how's it going?
It's going fantastic, sir. Thank you for being here. We have a big show today, so I'm really glad you could be here. Episode 266.
Appreciate you being here.
Now, you're down there in the Tejas. I was just down there recently. In fact, if things had gone as originally planned, I would have been probably in the same room with Anthony for this episode right now. That was supposed to be last Tuesday. I was instead getting carved up by doctors, so I didn't have an opportunity.
Let me just say we're all glad you are alive and well, and you look great.
Thank you. I mean, that's kind of you to say. Well, let's start with the big news before we get into the community news. It's not very often we get to be the news. We usually cover the news.
Right.
We're not often the news, but this week we are the news. I'm starting off with a big announcement. Jupiter Broadcasting is joining Linux Academy. And let me be clear, this is a great development. We are kumbayaing, as they say. And the biggest change that's happening from all of this has already happened. Behind the scenes, the biggest change is that our shows are going ad-free. No more sponsors on the shows. And that happened September 1st. I don't know if anybody noticed, but it did actually happen.
I mean, it was out there, right?
Yeah.
Not out there.
And we're very excited about that because Linux Academy is going to be our sole sponsor. We are part of Linux Academy now. So we're dropping ads and our shows are going sponsor-free. That's the biggest change you're going to see. But behind the scenes, there has been some big news. Wes, Angela, Joe, and myself have become full-time, well, all of us except for Joe have become full-time employees of Linux Academy. Joe is spending full-time working on JB shows, doing production and editing. And Wes is now on board. He's going to be in charge of our content. And he's obviously been helping me out this last week as I've been out sick. We're going to be developing new processes. And so we have a core team now that's been forming for the last couple of weeks behind the scenes. And it's so exciting for all of us. And Wes and Joe, you guys did above and beyond last week while I was out. And you and Ange all worked together to make sure the shows kept going out. And I don't think we could have done that without this transition. And the timing just happened to work out such that it was in place. So the week that I had to go, you guys were there and in place. You had to scramble, you had to work hard and work lots of extra hours, but it was the beginning of something we could have never have done before. And that was pretty cool. So that's been huge for us, behind the scenes and it's just been great. Very exciting. And it means that long-term, we're going to be able to make big investments in content, make big plans, do things a little differently. The flexibility we'll have now by being sponsor-free means we can entertain new ideas and new format options that we'd never really considered. And what's great about this is at the core of it, this is Linux Academy looking for their way to give back to the Linux community. And this is how, and one of many ways they're going to do it. And I could tell you the numbers. Maybe I'll get Anthony to share them. But the growth that Linux Academy has seen since 2014, when they became our sponsor back in 2014, has been just explosive. The numbers don't make sense. They're so big. And they've been looking for a way as they grow to give back to Linux, as they have been successful because of Linux and building content around there. There is that shared drive that we have to contribute back. So at the core, that's what we're trying to accomplish here. And we're going to contribute back in ways that Jupiter Broadcasting didn't have the means to do before. We'll be open sourcing our shows, our production pipeline, and we'll be open sourcing any tools that we create to automate our processes or validate or ensure production. We'll be doing that in an open way. We'll be setting up a GitLab instance where there'll be issues that we can track, code that you can see. We're still discussing licensing. It's all early days, but we're really excited about it. And I hope that we can help make tools that help other people create content on Linux. And we'll be using the funds that we generate via our Patreon to fund contributions to open source projects and free software. Something I want to experiment to, we're going to do swag matching, where we'll do match donations for swags. We'll help people get to events, community events that are important. And we'll even work to sponsor other podcasts in the community that are contributing something valuable back to the community. And I have a lot of experience in that area. And so I'm going to lend my services, and I'm going to work with these podcasts to help them grow their community a bit and become stronger. So just as an example, I mean, this is going to manifest in a lot of ways. It's early days. But as an example of something we're already taking action on, we've decided up early on to contribute a portion of Joe's production time to the Ubuntu podcast to help them with their post-production. Because that's an example of a show that I think is just a great show. And we need more great shows. The whole idea here is to get people excited and passionate about free software and Linux. You know, the Linux Action Show is a showcase show. They always showcase the best in Linux and the best in open source. At this show, we dive deep into the topics that matter to the users of open source software and free software. We talk about the new emerging technologies, the big trends that are coming, help you wrap your head around it. We go to the source of the people that are doing the work, and we help them communicate to you what they are doing. And I want more of that because I think that is vital to open source. We've had entire episodes where I've gotten up in my soapbox and talked about how the communication around free software and open source has a dramatic effect on the community. And we want to take some steps to help the podcasts and the free software projects that we use, for example, or that we get along with. We want to help everybody grow. And we want, even if that's just they use the source that we create to help produce all of this, they use the automation tools that we extend to do all of this, even if it's just that detached, that is a success for us. And we'll be using our Patreon funding to basically fuel all of that. Because Linux Academy is taking care of our run costs, and we don't have sponsors anymore. So we'll take that Patreon funding and we'll direct it at these types of initiatives. They'll be the funding source of our Linux community contributions and things like swag matching. But we're also going to expand the lineup on the network. We're already kind of in the next phase of this right now, and I'm very excited to announce that User Air is coming back very soon. We have a new lineup with Joe and Popey and Daniel Foray from Elementary OS, plus a fourth seat that will be frequented by JB regulars, folks from the community, folks from Linux Academy. We'll have a good rotation there with a core set. And Joe, do you want to share the details on when people can expect that and what sort of the cadence is going to be?
So, yeah, we're planning to do that every 2 weeks, and it's going to be released on Fridays, all being well. So the first episode, well, the first rebooted episode, I suppose, will be this Friday.
Yeah. Isn't that
Oh, I'm looking forward to it.
Error.show is the new website, error.show/RSS if you want to subscribe. The new site is up. We're getting things in place in the back end, and the first episode should go out this Friday. That's great. People have been asking for User Air, and people loved that show, and it came down to a limitation of resources. We knew it was a show we needed to be doing, but we knew we couldn't pull it off.
It's a new world now.
It's a whole new world. And so that's why Anthony, the CEO of Linux Academy, is joining us today, because I wanted to also have everyone out there listening, have a chance to hear from him and kind of what their motivation is and learn a little bit more about Linux Academy if you're not familiar. And I think maybe, Anthony, the place to start here is how all of this started when I came down to visit you for Texas Linux Fest, and then we just kind of started talking from there about ways to work together more.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, if you don't mind, real quick, back in, 2014, when you first had me on the show, and then we kind of started that sponsorship relationship a little bit. It was just me full-time and a couple other people part-time, and we really didn't have very many users. I think we had like 50 users at the time. And, you know, this is a real testament to actually the Jupiter Broadcasting community and you and everybody and all your members and all the listeners. It's actually because of them. They helped us kind of grow, specifically in the early days and even in the later days too. But if it wasn't for the Jupiter Broadcasting community, I don't know that we would be where we are today.
Wow.
As a company, you know, Linux Academy. So, honestly, it does make a lot of sense, and we're really, really excited. It's hard to have different types of open source projects with what we do. We like contributing to them, but we really want to give back, right? We have a lot of training architects on staff with a lot of knowledge. We really want to give back and give back to the community that helped grow us. And it's funny, yeah, you came down because it was on our April live show announcement. We were doing our 150 launches, and you were so kind to send I told everybody on there we were using it was a Mac software.
Yeah, Wirecast.
Wirecast.
Yeah.
And I got this email from you, and it was so nice. It was, hey, if you would like us to help you actually run Linux for your broadcasting stuff, I'll be happy to come down and set you up. And so he said, yeah, come on down. Let's hang out a little bit. And you flew down. We joined up at Texas Linux Fest.
No, I took the RV down that first one.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
You did take the RV down.
Yeah.
That was like how long was that road trip down there again?
It was like 6 days down, 6 days back.
It seems longer for some reason.
Yeah, it did to me too. I think I could do it in 3 though. I think I could do it in 3. Mm-hmm.
Well, so goals.
Yeah,
goals.
yeah.
We'll set that up as a goal. Yeah, and then you come down and we hang out quite a bit. Just had a good relationship. You come back. It felt like we were having a good time. Hanging out with the community. You come back to the show. Help us. You spend a week there. Help us get set up with
OBS
open
on
broadcasting
Linux,
system.
yeah.
OBS, yeah. And we so have you on the show, and we do kind of a co-show. And I mean, it's that point in time I knew we were going to be BFFs forever.
Yeah, it definitely clicked, and it was like, well, maybe we could do this, and maybe we could do that, and then the conversation changed to, well, maybe we should just consider this, because the thing is we're both content shops. Like, what we do is make content, and there's not very many people that understand what goes into making content except for the people who make it. And that kind of click, I think, is really rare, where we lined up and we're both making content for the Linux community, and we both understand how hard that is. And that I think was the seed that kind of grew from that whole thing. And now it's for me, it's just a tremendous opportunity, because I'm now going to be the VP of Community at Linux Academy, which is a fantastic role that gives me quite a bit of leverage to interact with the community and grow the audience and grow Linux Academy's community and one day bring the communities together, even possibly if we can find a great way to do that. There's so many options, and including it means I'll be able to go to more events. I'll be able to attend things that are sometimes would have been way outside of my reach. And we may even see one day a version of Lady Jupes going down the road, fully wrapped up, totally loaded as a podcast official bus one day.
Hey, yo.
So many possibilities. So
I thought that we were doing that first thing.
I know.
Really.
We got to get on that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so it's really great because you're actually part of the leadership team at Linux Academy right now. So right, and what's so great about that is your love and passion for the community and working with the community, and that's what Linux and open source is all about, is giving back to the community, be part of the community, helping people grow, helping them stay up to date, stay in touch, learn new things quickly, so on and so forth. So it's just a really exciting time, and quite frankly, to you and the entire team too, we're everybody, and I'm really excited to have you on. And you guys have just done nothing short of an amazing job with Jupiter Broadcasting. Your listeners are amazing too.
Well, thank you. That's very kind, and I'm really proud of what we've built here. And I never really had a big end goal in mind of being like some huge podcast mega corporation. I always wanted to do it in a way that would be sustainable, that would allow us to make content that is really focused on the actual bits of the show, and not focused on trying to make ad sales, and not focused on trying to be flashy and click grabby, so that way people want to throw money at us. And I never even wanted to entertain the idea of anything like a paywall to try to make this sustainable, because that seemed so opposite of what is natural to the free software community. And this gives us an opportunity to stay focused on the content, not worry about jumping and chasing sponsors, while also coming up with new ways to maybe talk to some of the people at Linux Academy that are just really, really massive topic experts on some of the things that we cover.
It's just incredible. There's so many resources, so many knowledgeable people at Linux Academy.
We had, Wes has had an opportunity recently to go down and meet Linux Academy folks. You spend a little time in Texas, and you really see it's an institution. It's an operation. And there are people there that are really smart, from Red Hat and Rackspace, and people that are deep into Azure, and people that are deep into OpenStack, and I mean deep.
And they care about it, right? This is what they live and breathe, and there's just so much passion.
They're contributors in some cases, and they have been so heads down and focused on creating content that they haven't really had an opportunity to put their heads up for air ever, and talk about what they do or talk about what they know. And there could be some big opportunities there for future shows and future content. So my head's spinning with all of the ideas. And I'm not kidding. Like, I drugged myself out of the hospital to be here to talk to you guys about this because I am so excited. I'm very happy.
I'm a little concerned that you referred to us as a mega corporation. I don't know.
No, I said an institution. Well, I mean, what was it that we just saw, like, in the Dallas paper? One of the papers in the Dallas area came out and listed Linux Academy as one of the things that's attracting people to the area. I mean, they are seeing phenomenal growth. So it's, you're humble about it, Anthony, but you have, I think, I'll just put it as this: you have a way of talking about the students and aligning people's priorities that it isn't bullshit. It really registered with me, because you do it even when no one's ever going to see it. When no one will ever hear about it, it's behind closed doors or it's in a private, secure chat, you still do it. And that is how I feel about the audience. And it's the same kind of respect that I have for the audience that you have for the students. And that, I think, was the thing that we have a lot of common ground there. Oh, yeah. People in the chat room are asking how do I feel about it. I'm very excited. And I think it's going to be great for the community, because we'll be in a position where we can contribute back in a way we never could, which is something I've talked about for years trying to accomplish. And for me personally, it means I have things like medical insurance now, which probably just saved me from total financial ruin, because I've just gone through 2 visits to the ER, 1 major, massive surgery, a week plus recovery in the hospital, and I have 2 months of intensive recovery at minimum ahead of me. So I could only imagine what the cost is. I have not yet even seen the first bill for the first ER visit, but I can imagine that it would be financially devastating to me. So this has been a very good opportunity for me. The timing of it worked out pretty good, both from having Wes to be able to join us full-time, to have Joe to be able to join us full-time and become even more integrated in our production pipeline, which is bringing up our quality across the board. World-class editor. Woo! Joe Resington, everybody. And to be able to reach out to the Ubuntu podcast and say, hey, we'd like to do this for you because we like you and we think what you guys do is important and we want to help make it sustainable. Like, having the ability to do that now is the kind of thing that I've wanted to do for ages. And I think it's what takes a Linux community podcast to the next level, when you can start to become an active participant in the community and how you contribute. So there's a lot of possibilities down the road. It's early days. We don't really have much more plans to change things immediately other than adding user air.
And things that we have now are just going to get better and have more focus and attention.
Yeah. Yeah, and so with that is our opening to the show. Anthony, is there anything else you think we should touch on?
I don't think it is. I just want to say it's great to have you all on, and don't underplay your situation there. Make sure you get some rest and take care of yourself. The community needs you.
I know, I will.
Amen.
I will. Wes and Joe and Ange are going to have me covered for the next few weeks while I recover. I'll be on some shows as I can because I love doing it. But yeah, I'll definitely be tapping the brakes a bit more and those kinds of things, a little slower on social media, but I'll still try to make my presence and try to respond to people as I can. And I want to say
we need to thank Wimpy as well for stepping in for TechSnap. That was very much appreciated.
Yeah, thank you, Wimpy.
My pleasure. It was a lot of fun.
It was a great episode. So with that all said, if you have questions about this or concerns, let me know. You can email me or you can tweet me, and I will be collecting them and creating a FAQ at some point and releasing that. I want to give the other shows on the network a chance to also collect the questions. The shows remaining, the BSD Now guys and Ask No, are all staying on the lineup, and we're excited about that too, because I think it's going to be better than ever. We'll have more resources than ever, and we don't really have there's no editorial influence in what we'll be doing there or anything like that. They're still their shows. They own them, and they get to produce them, and we'll still run them, but they'll be ad-free now because we don't have to run ads anymore to sustain them. So that's, I think, probably the biggest change there. But if you have questions about any of this, email me, tweet me, and I'll be creating a FAQ. I'll also be listening from the guys on the other shows and correlating all their questions too. What do you think, Wes?
Oh man, this is just so exciting. You've said all that really could be said. The thing for me is just that you care so much about this, and this is just a move that means you and the rest of us can spend more time focusing on it, doing it, having more time to engage with the community and the audience, and just spending all of our energies making this better.
I'm really excited to be working with you and Joe. You know, it's
a great team we've got going here.
It's something like you have been doing in your spare time for years now, and Joe's been cramming it in as he could for a year, at least with LAN plus a year plus. And now it's a formal thing. It's a real thing. It's our job now, and I think it's a great team, and it's going to get even better. So it's so wonderful for us because it's behind the scenes. It's just super exciting, and that energy just feeds into the show.
Yeah. So stick with us. I mean, this is all very new. We're not going to make a bunch of huge changes right at the start, but there's a lot building, and JB's not going anywhere. It's going to be better than ever.
Mark's in the chat room from the Ubuntu podcast. Mark, go ahead.
Hey. Yeah, I mean, from our point of view, it's really good to have Joe on board doing this. It means that we can focus on the bit which we really enjoy doing, which is, you know, meeting up once a fortnight and having a chat about stuff, and not so much about all of the other stuff we've got to do around it to get the podcast out, which we try and automate as much as possible, but you can't automate Joe.
Yeah. That is well put. Yeah, that's exactly what we were thinking. You know, make it sustainable that way, make it fun. Keep it going. So I'm really glad that that worked out. I'm elated, and I also get to be a big boss now. I'm a VP at Linux Academy. So and Anthony's going to have to put up with me as part of his leadership team now, and that's going to be wonderful. You're going to love it, Anthony. Don't worry. I'll just be ruffling feathers.
It sounds great.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds great.
Doesn't it sound great? Well, thank you. Thank you for coming on and chatting with us about it. You know, the Mumble Room's always open if you ever want to join us for a show and chat about stories or anything like that. And yeah, I mean, I guess, you know, if people are excited, go check out. I'm going to say this. Nobody asked me to. It's not an ad, but if they don't have a heck of a sale right now over at Linux Academy, if you're excited about this, go to Linux Academy right now and sign up because it's $299 for the year, which makes it like less than $30 a month. And correct me if I'm wrong, Anthony, but if they get that price, it stays that. Like, that's their membership price as long as they are a member. It doesn't, like, reset at the end of the year.
Yeah, and in fact, we actually have, if you recall our pricing back in 2014 when we first started talking, we have people who have never canceled their membership, and the price has always been the same. And we always like to reflect, pricing for what I think we had like 12 videos or something back when we first talked. So the pricing was a lot different back then. They still have that same pricing. Regardless, so if you have it, you get to keep it forever.
That's phenomenal
as an individual.
So if you're pumped, if you're even half as pumped as we are, this is a really great time to sign up with that $299 a year because then you can lock it in.
Yeah. You don't have to think about it. You just have access when you want to learn something. There you go.
Yeah. All right. Well, Anthony, thank you very much for joining us, and enjoy your evening down there. Stay dry because I know the weather's getting crazy down in Tejas.
Yeah, I appreciate it, and welcome to all of you. Really excited to have Joe and Wes and Angela and you and everybody on the team, and welcome to the community. And again, thanks to the entire community for your support on Linux Academy in the early days. That really kind of helped us make it is what it is today. And without the community, it never would have happened. So I appreciate you letting me come on, Chris, and join in on that announcement. I know it's for you guys, but I appreciate being able to come in and do that with you. And I look forward to working with everybody as we go forward.
Absolutely. Yeah, thank you for making it. And let's keep rolling into the show.
Oh boy, there's more show?
Yeah, there's more show. Again, if you folks out there have questions, send them in to me, Chris@JupiterBroadcasting.com, and I'll be collating a FAQ later on. I don't know when. Once we get enough questions in, I'll put that all together. But let's talk about some things that I suspect people may be interested in. We'll just do a couple of stories, and then that'll probably wrap us up just because I'm starting to hurt a little bit. But Nextcloud 14 came out this week.
Oh.
Nextcloud 14 came out, and everybody is probably kind of familiar with the whole Dropbox situation, so these announcements are even more attractive than ever. A couple of features in here, though, that I think are pretty fascinating. They're doing something called video verification.
When I saw that title, I was like, what does that even mean?
It's not like Face ID. It's just a way to identify the person you're about to share a password with before you actually send them the password. You know, camera pops on. Is this actually the right? Is this Wes Payne that I'm about to send this password to, or is it somebody pretending to be Wes
Right.
Payne?
I mean, like, so often you have to establish some sort of side channel anyway to go communicate a password. You don't often send it in the same medium that you're discussing other things. This just automates that.
Yeah. So Nextcloud 14 is also bringing in two-factor authentication support with a new gateway system that lets you use SMS or Telegram or Signal.
Hey, I use those already.
That I love. That is super, super great. And then last but not least, there's been some improvements for system administrators. It's received a restructuring of app management so you can update apps across multiple categories. And the one feature they added that I think is pretty cool is Nextcloud now supports logging to the systemd log. And users are notified of major changes with a pop-up first on login. So like when you upgrade now, you get a pop-up saying, here's what's changed.
Oh, hey, that's professional.
Yeah. So there you go. That's a little news for you. There you go. Of course, that's not all the news we have. No, we also have some strange developments and also really positive developments over at Solus. A distribution that we used to follow quite closely, but things have quieted down.
Yeah, it's been a while since we've talked about it here on Unplugged.
Yeah, and Josh over at Solus just recently posted about supercharging some of the infrastructure, and I have noticed a lot of package activity, a lot of development happening over at Solus recently. But when you read through the changes in the infrastructure, it appears that the core team that remains, sans Ike, was unable to maintain that infrastructure fully, and they were unable to get communications with Ike to take control. And it also sort of lined up with while Ike, I think, was traveling, and they say because of the timing of these upgrades and our lack of access to the solusproject.com domain, Brian and I are going to be shifting Solus services over to a new getsol.us domain. They're hoping it's a temporary measure, but it's unfortunate the timing of this is lined up with Ike's move to England. However, we take full responsibility for not prioritizing for several bus factor issues that would have made this transition smoother. So I'm assuming the transition is that Ike is no longer involved with the Solus project, but
was maintaining a lot of that core infrastructure.
And there's not really clear communication here if that's the case or not.
Right. Obviously, there's problems of some level. They don't have access now. Exactly why and how much communication, that we don't know.
It's very odd, and it really pisses me off because it means Noah was right, you know, and I just hate that. I just hate it when Noah's right because he and I would get into arguments, and I'd say, no, Solus is different. Ike is a passionate visionary. And he would say, it doesn't matter, they're a small distribution, and they disappear, and then you get screwed. And I would argue back, but this time it's different. Look, he's gone full-time now. He's gone full-time. It's so different, Noah. You're so wrong. He was completely right.
Or, I mean, was he? I mean, it's getting supercharged now.
Yeah, I hope maybe you might be right. Maybe there's a chance. I wonder though. I'd kind of like to open that up to the mumble room. What happens when the main visionary driver behind a project fades away? Are the projects are they ever really the same? I'm trying to think of some examples of I'm trying to think of maybe some projects we know of that had.
Python's a recent example, but a little too new to comment on how it goes.
But that same kind of vein though, you're on the right track there. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking. Is like, what?
If you think about it, there's a lot of projects that were started in the Linux world that the people who started it are nowhere even near it.
Yeah, like you mean you're talking just like old projects that's just been around forever.
Yeah. And like a lot of the big ones, like most of the big ones have the people who started those are nothing to do with it anymore.
Okay.
A good example would be like Emacs.
Yeah.
Yeah, GCC.
Or GNOME or Debian or KDE.
Ooh, GNOME. Yeah, GNOME is a good one. You're right. Okay.
Like there's tons of them that are big enough for that.
What about things like Budgie though? Like Budgie seemed like it was, sort of an Ike specific creation. Like, does Solus now continue their investment in Budgie, which is based on some maybe older technology that were going to get replaced? Do they switch to a Plasma?
Solus and Budgie aren't the same thing though, right?
Right, but it's their default desktop environment.
Well, it is, but it's a desktop environment. There's nothing to say that Solus couldn't live on using another desktop environment as its default.
Right, that's what I was just speculating, is maybe Plasma.
There's a lot of effort in the GNOME version of Solus.
Right. That is true. And Wes just did a little review of GNOME 3.3.0 on Linux Action News last week. Sounds like you're running it right now too, yeah?
Yes, I am.
Yeah. All right. So maybe it's right now we'll just call it a transition, and it could be a good thing, Could be a bad thing. I mean, really, it seems like Josh and the folks around the project are still working their butts off on it. Like, I was just looking at some of the updates. Like, they're still cranking.
It's a hard question to answer, right? Like, I think you'd be hard-pressed to pick distros at random and see, well, how real is that bus factor? How much community support is there? Or is this really the work of one or two people?
Yeah.
It's an interesting case study.
Yeah, and I find every time this happens, you do have to take each incident into its own like individual space. Like you can't immediately lump in like past projects that have faded away and things like that. But it's tempting. I'm certainly tempted. Joe, you've been on.
There's also times where people said things about Solus changing things, and it was gonna end badly, and it didn't so far. When they went rolling, it didn't they didn't really collapse or anything.
Right, so. Right, yeah. There have been the sky's falling calls before. Joe, you've been awfully quiet on this topic. You don't have thoughts on this?
I have a lot of thoughts on it, but it's very awkward for me because obviously I worked with Ike for best part of a year on Late Night Linux, and had a lot of off-air conversations with him, and have a lot of insight into this. But I don't know how much to share publicly.
That's fair.
I mean, it was quite clear that he wasn't that happy with his life, and he made some major changes. He posted all over Google Plus about it, how he was getting a bike and getting fit and losing weight and, paying attention to his appearance and everything. And then suddenly he says that he's going to move to England. And, I think he'd said on air that moving to England was not something that he wanted to do. Even going there for things like Fosstalk Live and OggCamp were just not on his agenda. And then suddenly he goes over there and then goes AWOL. I mean, there's a post on the Solus forum, someone asking, this is a couple of weeks ago, where's Ike? When he first moved over to England, he posted about having the flu. And, which is not surprising, when you do, he talked about driving for nearly 12 hours or something from Ireland to England. Wow. And if you do that without sleeping and stuff, it's not a surprise going to somewhere new that you're going to get something like flu and be potentially laid up for a couple of weeks. But then one of the devs replies saying that he was struggling to get an internet connection. Now, there are very few places where you can't get at least some internet connection to at least talk to the team and sort out this domain issue. It's not a good sign when you have to change domain for your project. It means that whoever was controlling that domain cannot be contacted or is hostile. I don't think that he's hostile in any way. I think it's just that he's disappeared. His life priorities changed, shifted, and clearly he's not involved with this project anymore. You only have to look at the evidence. If you look at the fabricator for Solus, you look at the GitHub, he hasn't committed, he's not pushed any commits for a long, long time now, since July. And he's just not involved with the project anymore. And it's a shame to me that Josh is running this thing and not being straightforward about that. I mean, if you read between the lines, you can see that clearly Ike isn't involved. And I just don't understand why Josh doesn't come out and say it. I messaged him about that, and he just didn't reply to me. And I can see why he would want to be a bit cagey, hoping that Ike's coming back. But at some point, you just have to admit it and say to your community, Ike is gone, and we're ploughing on without him.
Yeah. I don't know that you can necessarily draw that conclusion, though. I mean, from the outside, it's very easy to speculate. Someone hasn't posted, they've not done any development, and we've not heard from them for a while. But yes, real life gets in the way, whether it's children or changing country or surgery or getting married or whatever it might be. Things get in the way, and sometimes you want to go offline for a bit and you want to do whatever you want to do to get your life in order.
I do understand
that. That doesn't mean that he's gone. It just means that he's not here now. We've had people in the Ubuntu community who've disappeared, like properly disappeared, and then they just pop up out the woodwork years later and say, hey, you remember me? And everyone's like, yeah, welcome back. Come on back in. And welcome them back. You don't have to
that is one thing to disappear, right? And some people do that. And, if Ike had just disappeared, but he is the lead, the founder of this project, who it seems controlled the main domain for them. And we're not talking about just the website here or the forums or the fabricator. We're talking about the repos and everything. Something has gone badly wrong here.
Well,
I guess if you think about it from the end users,
kind of guy.
I think I see it both ways. I think Popey's right. People need to human up sometimes. I have changes I've got to make, and I've got to deal with that. And Ike probably went through something similar. At the same time, when you create something like a semi-popular to popular Linux distribution desktop, there is a responsibility to the end users as well. Like there's a contract essentially there that you're making when you're saying I'm making this product, and it's like Josh writes in the post, like if you don't plan for the buzz factor, then it's your responsibility to take care of it and be at least communicative of like domain passwords and things like that. So I can see both sides of it. I hope that at the end result is the Souls project continues and Ike is able to make whatever changes he needs to be happy. That would really be the best case scenario. And I think as someone who's enjoyed Solus, I have nothing but support for the current team. They're all good folks and they all are hard workers. So hopefully it works out. What do you think? Yeah?
No, I mean, I think there's a lot. There's plenty to be hopeful for here. And you're right, it is complicated, especially in this. This is something we all worry about. Maybe this can be a good example if you're out there and looking to start your own distro or working on your distro. Buzz factor is real, and especially when you're volunteering your time to a project that you just have, just spare time. Anything can happen. We've had a great number of examples. Get that taken care of early, at least, if you have trusted people that you can share credentials or set up a system to do that. Do it now.
Wimpy and I know you too, Wes, but Wimpy and I have talked about it off air quite a bit, is, we're big fans of automating as much as you can of processes like this. So that way things are more push button, they're not as manual, and you can it's easier to hand off something like that.
Automation often forms a sort of documentation as well.
I'm always sort of impressed with the things that Wimpy's automated. We've looked at, it's Pod Publish, right, Wimpy, that you've tooled away at for a while? Yeah. Brilliant little system that maybe we can help with someday, and add things to it, like chapter markers, chapters.
Yeah, that would be good.
Yeah, it would. And I really think that's the way to do it, is try to build a system that you can hand off. And I am learning that very hard this last week.
And it's an easy thing to say, right? Of course, because we all know it. We think it in the back of our heads, but you're busy and you're just trying to get the next show done or whatever it is. But it is a serious thing.
If you ever wind up in the hospital and you're sitting there responding to work questions in the hospital bed, well, it's not fun.
Yeah.
It's not fun.
Not worth it.
In the case of Pod Publish, my circumstances were fortunately much more luxurious than yours, Chris. I was away working and then away on holiday, which meant that I wasn't involved in the Ubuntu podcast for a month. But because we've created Pod Publish and that tool automates so much, Popey and Mark were able to publish those episodes that I wasn't involved in, because normally I do the publishing bit. But because that tool is there and it automates 99% of what you need to do, it was trivial for them to just keep on running.
That's exactly
You say created. Can we give Stuart Language a bit of credit for, didn't you fork what he'd done already?
No, I didn't fork it, no. Stuart Language's spaghetti code of Python was an inspiration. His talk at OggCamp was the inspiration, but I looked at his stuff and I was like, no, I'm not forking this. I'll use this as an idea and I'll start from scratch.
And the value of this
Not invented here, fair enough.
Yeah. Well, I think it makes the point, though, and hopefully things sort out there. So that's really all I have planned for us today. I wanted to have those conversations, and I wanted to share our big news. I guess, too, we could take a moment if anyone in the Mumble Room has questions or thoughts about the announcement of JB and Linux Academy joining up, but also the audience is welcome to submit them via email.
Yeah, reach out to the hosts that you are curious about, or just the network in general.
Yeah, and I guess I'd leave, too, with just maybe expect to see a little less of me for a while. I'll still be around, but I won't be working as much because I'm going to have to take days off and whatnot for recovery.
Quiet force in the background, keeping things going.
I only really got my voice back a couple of days ago because they put a tube down my throat to breathe me, and so I'm still it's a little scratchy right now even. So that probably means as the voice runs out, it's time to wrap it up. I know these episodes have been short recently, and I do apologize for that because I don't intend them to be less than an hour, but it is what we've been working with, because it turns out I had been broadcasting for a few weeks in a pretty bad situation. I didn't realize how bad my situation was. And so I was just pushing through it, thinking it'd get better, and it didn't. And so there you have it. So they have been a little shorter. I apologize, but we've packed so much into this episode, and we have so much in the works and so much planned that, trust us, that's just the beginning, really. And with all of that, I'll add, go get more of Mark and Wimpy and Popey over at the Ubuntu Podcast and ubuntupodcast.org, and keep an eye out for User Air, starring one Mr. Popey, Joe, Daniel Foray, and your friends that'll be joining from time to time on the User Air show. It's error.show.
Error.show.
And error.show/RSS for the feed. And like Joe said, there should be a new episode on Friday, and it'll be kicking off from there. Super excited about that. It should be in all of the podcast, directories and whatnot already. So go get subscribed. Go get more Wes Payne at TechSnap, techsnap.systems, where you can hear a recent special episode with one Mr. Wimpy, which was fantastic.
So much fun.
It was the one thing that's been kind of neat for me is I really enjoy you and Joe on LAN, and I really enjoyed you and Wimpy on TechSnap. So I've been getting to listen.
You have more shows.
I have, which has been useful because I've had a lot more downtime recently.
Glad to help.
So it actually has been pretty neat for me. But I've been getting a lot of notes from people asking how I'm doing. A lot of people assume I'm on vacation, which is flattering. Not the case.
We wish.
I do wish that. But in the meantime, the shows will go on, and I will be back in full health in short. And we have so much in the works. I've never been this excited.
Stay tuned.
We got a great team now, full-time team. We're working for a company that knows content, who has developers and marketing and like actual departments of people and PMOs that can help us make project plans and is behind us contributing to open source and sending me to events and all of it. It's just going to be a huge, huge upgrade for us. So we're very excited. We'll be sharing more details about the projects we plan to open source, the licensing that we'll be choosing, all of that in future episodes. And I hope we'll see you right back here next Tuesday. Tell you, I've been flying a lot more than I have forever.
You've been flying all the time.
Yeah, I finally got the TSA pre-check.
Oh, nice.
On the flight back.
You need it. I mean, yeah.
I got checked out of the hospital, get in an airplane, and we got the TSA pre. No shoes, nothing comes out of the bags.
It's so, you feel like a respected human being again. It's nice.
I got a system down now. I'm getting air miles. I've got a go bag stashed at the Linux Academy office, so I can just literally get off the plane, go get my go bag, and this time everything's washed.
Oh yes, good work, good work.
So all the clothes are washed. All of like my bathroom items are in there. My shave, everything's in there.
I suspect Hadia's handiwork was somewhere in there.
Yeah. So, oh boy, it's quite the story. I'll have to someday I'll have to share the story of Hadia coming down and then me ending up in the hospital. Well, Mobile Room, thanks everybody. We had a great turnout.
That was great.
I really appreciate seeing everybody in there. Again, if you have questions now, you are welcome to ask them.
Chris, I think you should go for a sit down, and Eric, the IT guy, should tell us the Libre Application Summit.
Oh, you're right. Oh, thank you for reminding me. Oh, I got so distracted by all the news. Eric, why don't we spend a little of the post show talking about the Libre Application Summit? And I will. I'll sit down, and you can have the floor. What do you say?
All right, sounds good. I did unpack my entire Jeep just for you, Chris. So,
well, you know what? The good thing is the post show people will be listening to because it's a short show, so it's basically in the show. How was it? How was the whole thing?
I had an absolute blast. I mean, there was about 60 unique people there. We averaged about 40 a day. The talks just got better and better every day. I think in the long run, going to that conference is going to cost me a ton of money. I got to tour System 76. I got to sit and talk with pretty much their entire staff, and I really love Craig and his vision for 76, and then also attended a talk from Purism about the Librem. Kind of the short version of that was that I feel like a phone, whether it was built for privacy or just built to run Linux, is something that our community needs. At this point, I'm probably going to pre-order it just because I feel like that's something that needs to happen. It doesn't matter how hard or how long it takes to get there. I feel like that's just something we need. But as you hear a lot from people that go to conferences, the best part was literally the hallway track. It was we had really long breaks, and people would pull out their laptops, and there's folks from Red Hat, namely the Flatpak project, and I think in just about every talk there was there was questions from the Flatpak guys about how they're developing applications and whether or not they could put that into a Flatpak. I mean, the only thing they didn't try to put into a Flatpak was lunch.
Was Todd Weaver there?
The name doesn't sound familiar, but that
the
doesn't mean
CEO
anything.
of Purism.
No.
Ah, right.
So there was one other thing I was going to touch on, but it was a great conference. One of the best things I think to come out of this particular conference was that KDE sent a few people. So it wasn't as GNOME centric as the first iteration of the conference, and I think for next year there's going to be some rebranding and some sharing of resources and personnel. So that next year it's going to be more community centric as opposed to GNOME centric. So I know KDE's part of the reorganization plan for next year. They added a couple of people to the group. Elementary, Daniel and Cassidy were both there. They are some amazing guys. I had a lot of fun getting to know them and talking to them, and I think they both signed up to be part of. They both signed up to be part of the Libre Application Summit committee. One of the things we're going to bring up is a rebrand and a rename, mostly because it's really confusing to people who are new to the community. Well, is this Linux Action Show? Is this like
I was going to say, not to mention the acronym.
Yeah, exactly. But so that's definitely on the plan for next year. We've got a bunch of folks from, let me see who I can name off the top of my head, from Spotify, from I think Nihilus, or the company behind Mailspring, and I know a bunch of folks from Canonical wanted to come. It just didn't work out timing wise, so I think next year there'll be a slight shift in when this conference happens. That way more people can attend, with expanding by expanding the committee that's planning the conference. We can get things planned and set up sooner. That way next year we can get more attention around this conference. We can get more people involved and try and present desktop Linux as a unified front instead of GNOME versus KDE versus LXDE.
Right. And it sounds like those seeds were laid, in this one. So that's amazing.
Very much so, and one of the best parts, one of the coolest things I got to see was there was one of the days I was there, I was supporting my Jupiter Broadcasting shirts, and so some people recognized me from being in the Mumble Room on this show, but that's kind of a selfish take on that. But the best part was some of them were from the local colleges. They heard about the Libre Application Summit from the show. And so they all pooled their money and they bought tickets and they all carpooled out. There's two different shows.
That's
there were
awesome.
two different colleges,
Wow.
and they were some of the most involved in the Q&A sessions. They a couple of them have a digital signage project that they're working on, and I'll try and track that project down. I know I put it in the Ask Noah Show Telegram, but I'll track that project down. It was a neat idea to use Python and Raspberry Pis to have a central server that's sending out all the content from PDFs to MPVs out to Raspberry Pis across their campus. I think it's just their campus lab right now, but they've got some really cool ideas to spread their project across all of their campus, and so they kind of announced that, and some folks took some interest, and one of the schools is. There was a couple of gentlemen that will be joining the engagement team for GNOME. So they're going to try and Sumner, thank you so much. It's actually in the IRC. It was the Colorado School of Mines called Visplay was the name of the application that they're working on. And it was great to see college students getting involved and asking, okay, so how can I help spread the word around my campus and to my computer security club? And so it was great to see folks getting involved.
That is.
And how much of it was technical then? Like, what was the balance between technical talks and more kind of overview strategy stuff?
The talks themselves were about 70-30. A lot of it was pretty deep into the weeds. So as just a dumb systems engineer, I didn't quite understand all of it. But there was one of the talks, one gentleman from a company called FreeHive is actually made me think of Brent, because he is a graphic designer who got tired of being held hostage by Adobe and the Creative Suite, and is rebranded his entire company and went open source and said, you know, this is a hard journey. His company is called FreeHive, FREEHIVE. And he was a very dynamic speaker, and he really brought some interesting attention to the developers and GNOME and KDE about the problems that are out there and some projects that could use some extra love. And I love how the IRC is throwing links in there. Thanks, guys. That way I don't have to.
Freehive.com.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's great to hear about.
We were going to
Thanks for
talk
sharing
about
that.
GNOME 3. Oh, sorry, go ahead, Brent.
Sorry, I just wanted to acknowledge that, yeah, I see myself in that, and we need more people doing that, especially in the creative space. So, yeah, spread it around for sure.
You definitely should reach out to Ryan, the founder of FreeHive. He was really, really great and very, very open.
That's great. I certainly will. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. And in fact, that was one of the cool parts about being there and knowing people from GNOME and knowing people from Elementary. Just as a lot of you know, I'm somewhat new to the open source community itself. I've been involved in Linux for 7 years. I've been involved in running Linux on the desktop for about 2.5. But as far as the community goes, it's really been in the last few months. But within 15 minutes of the doors opening, I was able to talk to someone who was working on a way to monetize open source applications, and basically I had just met Cassidy not 10 minutes before, and so I was able to take this gentleman and go talk to Cassidy, because they're doing that right now with Elementary OS. So it was great to just be there and enable the community, and I've never tweeted so much in my life.
Well, thank you for the summary. That does sound
fascinating.
It sounds like it was a really good event for you to go to, and so I'm really glad you could make it. And how many people do you think, if you're going to take a wild guess, were in attendance?
I think we averaged about 40 people a day, with probably 60 to 70 unique people. So there's some people that were only there for a day or 2 days, and then there's a few of us that were there every day.
It sounds really quite intimate, actually, as an experience. I'm glad you went. That's fun.
It really was, and intimate is definitely the right word to describe the technical exchange of ideas. We'll be doing some minor edits to all the sessions, and those will be coming out over the next few weeks. But the talks were really the sideshow. It was the work that got done. It was the exchanging of ideas. It was the fact that KDE and GNOME people could see firsthand were not competing, that they were just two groups of people that both have a passion for desktop Linux, and that they're. I think in the months and years to come, we're going to see more collaboration between the two projects.
I know what you're saying when you say you see the two projects working together. It's like the turf wars of the internet sort of just completely become irrelevant, and it's just two people trying to solve a problem working together in meat space.
That's the best spirit.
And we need both projects, because for me, I can only speak for myself, but Plasma doesn't work well for my workflow. It brings back too many bad memories of all the years I ran Windows. But when I moved over from Mac OS, GNOME 3 it worked. It fit right into my workflow. So we need both. We need both projects. So the only people that would lose on a turf war like that is the entire community.
I totally agree. Plasma.
Presumably there was quite a lot of hype about GNOME 3.30 then. Pretty good timing with the release of that just having happened.
Yeah, that was pretty convenient. We had a release party and had cake and went to a retro arcade bar. So there you could carry a drink around and play Galaga and Pac-Man and some others. But it was a really convenient timing. And having played with 3.30, I wish I could. I was planning on coming on today and just being all excited and you've got to try this out, but as Wes kind of alluded to the other day, it's just another good release. There's a bunch of bug fixes. There is a new podcast app which I'm looking forward to trying, but it's a lot of good work. It was hundreds of commits. It was hundreds of people working on it, and all in all, it's a great accomplishment. I'm missing my Arch install right now because I'm not running it on my main workstation. So if you're running Fedora, that should come out in Fedora 29, which is slated for the end of next month. So I'm debating putting my main system onto the testing repos just because I really want to run it.
Nice. Yeah, I understand that drive. That is a spot I've been in. I have, as part of joining Linux Academy, I have a work machine coming to me, and Wes does as well. And we got, is Popey still here? Yeah, Neon Popey. We got ThinkPads. We got ThinkPads.
Indeed.
So very excited. We have ThinkPads that they're actually being shipped to us, so they'll be here probably in a week. And I think I'm going to put Neon on it.
Oh, Neon. Okay, yeah.
That makes sense.
I should do Kubuntu because we're doing Kubuntu on all of the production systems, but I'd love an 1804 base, and I'd love the fresh plasma. And so I was, Rotten, I was kind of going to ask you, like, is there an ISO? Can I just go right to the 1804 version of Neon when that machine arrives? Like, all my Neon boxes are still 1604 based.
The Neon 1804 is a preview version, so it's still it's in beta now, so it's close to being released, but there's
you think it's
still
not?
at least a couple weeks.
You think it's safe? I mean, you think it's? I mean, I feel like it's probably got to be getting there, right?
Well, the problem is that there's going to be bugs until they finish the migration between 1604 and 1804, so they don't really know. It depends on what you're doing it for, because I think there's
just really want fresh plasma.
Like if it's not for the potential of catastrophic if you lose some stuff, then I would it's fine.
Yeah,
but
I don't think it'd be catastrophic.
Yeah, if you're not storing everything, because if you're doing stuff on the production machines or on the stable release of Kubuntu, you should be fine. If you don't store a bunch of stuff on there, I don't think it would break things. But there's some times where I had KWin crash a few times, and there's a couple times where I had KWin just pretty much just obliterate itself and not think it existed, so that the system wouldn't even boot. Like I could get in TTY, but that was about it.
We had that same problem in the studio happen once. Now, so I'm thinking like in a month though, the laptop is going to I guess actually more than a couple of months. I'm sort of grounded for a few months, but eventually it'll be my travel broadcast machine. So I do want it to be pretty rock solid, but I probably have a few months before it's necessary.
Yeah, I think
so. You need a rock solid distro on that laptop, right? And you're thinking about possibly Neon or maybe Kubuntu. Mm-hmm. Well, Chris, come on. There's only one distro that you could put on that. Solus.
Kubuntu, he's right.
All right, that's a good spot. I'm going to stop it right there. That's a good the Solus.
Cut it.
That's got to be the end of the show.
I thought it might be.
Yeah. I'm not sure if I'm being dumb about Neon. I would just like, I'd like
you seem to love fresh plasma. I mean,
so Chris.
Yeah.
When I was at Academy a few weeks ago, I asked, because obviously I run 1604 KD Neon on my ThinkPad, and I saw Jonathan Riddell there, and I said, hey, so how stable is 1804? Is it, can I upgrade to it? Should I upgrade to it? He went, yeah, it's fine.
It's fine.
So there you go. That's directly from Jonathan Riddell. Yeah,
okay.
Perfect. It's fine.
That's good. That gives me somebody to blame. I like that.
Yeah, someone to blame. Exactly.
So I can just grab an ISO that's already 1804 based though. I don't have to like.
Yeah, there's a preview ISO. Yeah.
All right, I think I'm going to do it. Are you going to stick with GNOME? What are you thinking? What are you thinking for your rig?
No, I mean, I'll probably start with Plasma.
Really?
Yeah.
You're going to make the switch, huh?
Oh, I've already got a Kubuntu partition set up on one of my home machines that I've been doing a lot of audio stuff with.
Yeah, and you have run it a couple of times on that machine.
Yeah, definitely.
So,
I'm glad the production machines that runs the network is one I helped build. It's nice.
The Kubuntu one? Yeah. I actually, and I've decided that is my favorite theme, too. Because otherwise Firefox has issues rendering text sometimes and stuff like that. I really like it. Can I get that on Neon?
Nope.
Oh.
I mean, technically it's possible, but it was created custom for Kubuntu, so
I'd have to
it would have to be it would have to be ported to Neon.
Yeah.
Like it is technically possible, but it's not.
I've been really. When I got back from the hospital this last weekend, I came in here and I did an app upgrade on all the Kubuntu systems. You know what? Because that's
how did it go?
Fine. Everything's working great today. Everything's working great. I just love it. I love it. It's not a guarantee, but it's so much safer than Arch after I haven't updated for like a month. I come in here and I run the update and
dude, why have we not given you a landscape subscription so you could just like do that remotely?
You know, I was trying it for a little while. I actually think I pay for a little landscape, but yeah, I don't know why I backed off. Oh, when I reloaded from Unity 7 to Kubuntu, I never signed back up with landscape. That's what it was.
You should.
I was just thinking live patch might be enough to cover me for the important stuff, and then I'll just manually do it from time to time. But you're right, landscape does make it easier. And landscape would work on a Neon box too, wouldn't it?
Should do.
At least for the security stuff, maybe. I don't know. It'd be interesting to play around with. Well,
Neon has their own packaging of the kernel stuff.
Yeah.
I've seen them have like every package they have that's like modified by the distro. The not distro is has a flag associated to it as being a Neon package.
I've been pretty happy with Neon, but I have had anytime I have had a problem, it's been on a Neon system and not on a Kubuntu system. But I'm kind of willing to sometimes put up with it to have fresh plasma. So it's sort of there's just great stuff coming in all the time. Well, I wonder how the reaction's going to be to this episode.
I'm very curious.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what you want. Something like that.
We do need to pick a title. Oh, yeah. There we go.
I'll tell you what my reaction to this episode will be. Bloody finally, I can actually tell people about this.
I know.
Right? Yeah, you don't have to be so hush-lipped.
Yeah, it's been because it's business stuff, it's been a long time. And behind the scenes, we've known about it for weeks. But, this business, so it just takes time. Yeah.
It's been very kind of you to offer some of Joe's time to help us have better audio quality.
It finally gives me an opportunity to put my money where my mouth has been for years on this topic. For years I've been coming on this show specifically, getting on my soapbox about what people contribute to the open source community. And you guys are a great example of a show that's it's good to listen to, it's good insights, it's good. It's a great show, and I always
you were building up to saying bad audio there, weren't you, Chris?
Well, I'll tell you,
your audio's not that terrible.
I'll tell you one of the motivations I've always had a really, really, really hard time hearing Mark when I'm road tripping because of the audio, the road noise, and Mark's particular EQ. I could never really hear him, and now I think he sounds wonderful. He sounds great. It's really good. For me, it makes the show I love listening to even better. Too. So
it's just purely selfish.
Yeah, it kind of is.
Thank you anyway.
Does speeding up a podcast make it louder for some reason?
In case it wasn't obvious, Joe's produced the last 3 or 4 shows, I think, already. So we've had the improvements from this agreement already.
Yeah, it's been good. So. I've really been waiting to tell everybody. I've been so excited to share the news, but I have to follow the process. And last Tuesday was going to be it.
Yeah.
And then when I was told that I would not be leaving the hospital for a week, I was devastated. It was
you
really...
were devastated. Me and Wes had to do a show.
I know. That was going to be... There was nothing planned because that was going to be the announcement episode.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
It was easy.
The Mumble Room was of no help to you guys last week.
It was rough.
Yep.
So it's just been, and it was like the timing of this whole medical stuff has just been crazy.
Just crazy.
Well, and as Wes is my witness, I actually sent him a few of my notes. I wasn't sure if you were going to be here today, so I sent Wes a few of my notes about LAS and about GNOME 3.30, and then I followed up with and I was because I binge listened to my podcast backlog yesterday on the drive back from Denver.
Yeah,
and it's like you guys realize that the last few episodes have not had any sponsors.
Really? Did you note that? Did you note that?
Yeah.
Yeah, not many people said anything about that. For all the crap that JB has taken over the years for having so many sponsors,
right? Yeah.
When we dropped them across all of the shows, nobody really said anything. What does that tell you?
Most people think Joe and I are just.
I was worried people would think that I just forgot to put them in or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, maybe people might have assumed that just because I wasn't here, we weren't doing them.
We just didn't.
Yeah, that might have been it.
What were our sponsors again?
Yeah, I can't remember.
Some sort of mattress company.
Love you, Wes. Love you, Joe. But I was just afraid that they got left out.
Oh crap! How are they going to keep the lights
Well, the
on?
double check is always appreciated. That's for sure.
So we have From Jupiter to Beyond. Isn't a bad one.
I like that one. Yeah.
Yeah, it should be something amazing because of the amazing announcements.
So. Or maybe it should just be JB joins Linux Academy. I don't know, like how.
That's simple, but to the point.
But I kind of like From Jupiter to Beyond. I think that's.
Yeah.
Well, technically in the canon of television, cartoon animation, where Buzz Lightyear Star Command is, I think, has a Academy mentioned in it. So
okay. I like your process there. All right, so let's do unless something better comes along from Jupiter to Beyond. That's good. It's good. Oh man.
How about To Jupiter and Beyond?
To Jupiter and Beyond.
Well, you could always do something about Signal.
Yeah.
Jupiter Signal.
Yeah. Yeah, that's where I'm wondering. That's where I'm wondering if we'll see a big drop in the Patreon, because I sure hope not. Because I sure have so many like I'd love to go to a project and say, hey, would you like to do a run of swag? Well, here's $1,000 for you to buy shirts and do a run of swag, and maybe they could sell them for more. You know what I mean? That's the kind of stuff I want to use the funding for. Or like if there is say Jupiter Broadcasting is going to have a big presence at a fest or an event, I'd like to be able to buy somebody a plane ticket to come. You know.
That would be great. Oh yeah, right.
Oh yeah. What's up, Popey? What's up, Wimpy?
Yeah. So I hope the Patreon funding holds, because that's what
there's lots of awesome stuff to be done with it. Seems like an easy way.
As for the episode title, there's got to be a Starfleet Academy link there somewhere.
Yes.
Jupiter Broadcasting.
Exactly. There's more than just one academy. You can become a Star Commander. You can be a You can be a Federation officer. You can be a Jedi Knight. I mean, there are many different occupations in space warfare.
Space Force.
But it's not about being at war. It's about learning, isn't it?
Well, I mean, you have to learn in order to be effective in conflict.
You're not wrong.
Technically, our war is against the proprietary systems.
Start one more sentence with technically. I dare you.
I am so sorry. I am so sorry.
Oh, what a day. I'm going to spend the entire day tomorrow on the couch.
Yeah, I suggest you just collapse now.
It is so good to. This is a great milestone, though, to be here. I've been waiting to share this.
You get to do one of these.
Yeah, I get to say job done. We got it out there. Everybody knows now, and now we can double down and just go to town
after a short nap.
Yeah, after some recovery time. But
I have to say, this week feels a little bit like a movie with the stuff with Chris, and then the changes in the
will they?
And
won't
everything.
they?
It feels like, okay, geez, I was away for a week, and then all of a sudden there's all these amazing things happening. So what are you going to bring to the movie next week?
It burst. Hopefully I'll be alive.
Yeah, ideally a standard Linux Unplugged episode.
Yeah, really.
I think it's more like a soap opera, and we've missed a couple of episodes, and we're playing catch up now.
He's sleeping well.
We're binging through the season.
Yeah, it is going to be hard to do a follow-up episode, really. If you think about it.
Just setting us up here, huh, Chris?
How do you follow that?
Well, I mean, the big news is going to happen tomorrow, but that's not going to be too big here. I mean, for all we know, they could release something else that's open source other than Swift.
Linux subsystem for OS X.
That would be funny.
Oh, gosh.
Don't they already have Bash?
Yeah. That's why it'd be funny.
It's not going to surprise me if they change their shell scripting language, if they do. But that's more of a developer thing rather than a product thing.
Joe, you got a whole bunch of clips coming your way. I'll send you
clips of what?
Of just the show. So you got
right.
You got me, Wes, the Mumble, Anthony, yourself, and the soundboard.
Ooh wee.
Okay.
Your audio is pretty good over the Source
I should probably
Connect.
stop then, shouldn't I?
I gotta say.
Yeah, I agree.
Audio is pretty damn good.
Coming in hot.
Yeah.
But the good kind.
So I think that's it. So the Ask Nowhere show's coming up.
Oh, Ask Nowhere.
And
I bet he's got all kinds of excitement.
Everybody should just call in and ask him about the merger announcement and see what he says. he was going to make it and be here for the show, but he's in an airport right now traveling. So
of course he is. That's all he does.
He'll be landing and going on the air, and he'll be a little out of the loop. But we've been keeping the core hosts up to date through the whole process. So
pretty sure you mentioned it to him at least once.
Yeah. So he'll be all right.
I'm looking forward to the episode of user error that we recorded about 6 weeks ago to go out.
I know, right? Jeez, I know. That's the thing. Yeah. So the user errors. Yeah, boy, that's gonna be. I enjoyed it. I really liked it. I liked the show.
We need a title for that, by the way.
I could tell 10 minutes in. I was like, this show's not gonna be. It's not gonna go on long enough. I could tell within 10 minutes. I was like, I want to want more.
That's a good sign.
Yeah, it was. It was a good sign. So yeah, you do need a title, something.
You've had all this time.
I was going to just call it Another Reboot.
That's uninspired, dude. That's sad. No, we just gotta see.
Exactly. That's why I'm bringing it up now.
How about something about
on the
bikes?
live stream?
Reboot part 2.
The
hard error reboot.
Something about people just trashing those bikes on the side of the street, just throwing them down everywhere.
You mean scooters, right?
Abandoned bikes? No. Yeah, it's scooters in some areas, bikes in others.
Because they're so unsafe, they should be regulated. Darn.
Yeah, Jupiter goes to school. Jupiter's got class. System CTL restart Jupiter.
Magic Jupiter. No.
It's boy, this is gonna be VP of community. There's a lot involved there.
You got responsibilities, son.
Leadership
on the Linux.
I've already attended a leadership summit once. Whoa, doing a lot of traveling.
That sounds so official.
No, I met Ryan Sipes. Speaking of
yeah,
community management. Great guy. Great guy.
So I gotta say that it sounds like it was a good tight group over there. And you got to see the new 76 factory building? Did you see their did you see any secret new prototype designs or anything like that acrylic cases or newfangled laptops? I mean, tablets. I mean, what'd you see? Come on, did you see anything?
Cough, rising cough.
There was a table of prototypes that was covered under a very thick blanket, and that's about as close to anything cool like that we got.
That could have just been a series of boxes for all you know, or old rigs.
That's probably what it was.
That's where they
it's
hide
the new
their
iPhone, actually.
That's where they hide their Macs. No.
Sounds like maybe the blanket was an NDA or something.
Yeah.
We almost had them demonstrate the smaller of the two lasers for us.
Oh yeah, that's cool. Yeah.
So Eric, do you know, are they going to do it? You said they might move the when it's going to happen. Do you know if they're going to move where it is, or is it going to be in Denver again?
No, there'll definitely be a call for bids, probably early 2019. I think they're thinking of moving it to one of the coasts, just so more international folks can attend.
Awesome, cool.
Yeah,
Denver's not the easiest place to get to from out of country.
Right.
Yeah, that's right.
Or Kansas City when it's raining the whole way.
I was quite gutted that I couldn't go.
I wanted to go. I wouldn't have been able to go. I was trying to think about my plan was to go down to Linux Academy, do the announcement, and then fly possibly to Denver, and then fly from Denver to Seattle. But it was getting really complicated, and then of course I ended up in the hospital down in Texas. I went down to Texas just to go to the hospital, which wouldn't be my first choice. They did fine, but I would feel a little more comfortable up in the Pacific Northwest. But that's all right. And that was my thinking. Is it's just a little too challenging to get there. Where the location and the date is just a little challenging. If it was a week earlier and on one of the coasts, it would be much simpler, I think, for Popiano.
You know where's really easy to get to? London. Really, really easy from everywhere.
Yeah.
There's 4 airports around London, and anyone in the world can get to London in a single hop.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's just one train to Basingstoke. So
One
do it there,
really, really long hop.
Yeah, can do it at Desk Lodge in Amazingstoke, or I've heard there are offices in London.
I need like a week. I think I would need a week to acclimate to be my best.
Yeah, if one of y'all would mind buying my ticket, I'd be more than happy to go next year.
Is the leg worse getting there or coming home?
Yeah, for you it's getting here. Yeah, it's coming this way is the harder bit.
I would need at least a few days.
You'll be fine.
I need a few
You'll
days.
be fine. Just man up. Get over yourself.
No, or you just hang out with me. I'm on Seattle time anyway.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
If you want to keep your liver, don't hang out with Joe.
I could just sip my cider. I'll just sip.
I don't mean he's going to surgically remove it.
No, I know. He's a punisher.
No. Joe couldn't understand why he was so smashed at Odd Camp, and that's because he was matching us all pint for pint. But Joe's drinking cider, which is like 2 to 3 times as strong as the beer everyone else is drinking.
Oh, I do prefer the cider.
Cider stronger than beer?
It's got sugar too, which is not good for the old blood sugar. But I love it.
Well, the bottle of cider that I drank first tonight was 8.2%.
Ooh, that sounds tasty.
Ooh, that is nice.
Yeah, and
then I went down to a nice weak 6%.
Yeah,
Was that
most of
your
the beer we were
breakfast?
drinking was 3.5.
Well, that's
Three
pretty
and a
low.
half, wow,
That's
yeah.
pretty low, isn't it? Or is that normal?
Well, no, that was a low one, but we were being sensible, to
Smart.
maximise your endurance of beer drinking over
Right.
the evening.
So
You
you
go
can
for the
go-
lower strength option.
All night.
Makes sense. Well-
Meanwhile, Joe's face down in the gutter.
I was never face down in any gutters. The only
Face up.
place I was face down was my bed.
I suppose we should wrap it here. But it's been fun hanging out. Thanks for making it, guys. I think
Take
we're-
care, Chris. Look after yourself.
Thank
Try
you.
not to spend too much time in the studio.
I think I'm planning to do at least LUP next week. So hopefully the show will go on. And
No, just let Joe do it. He did a great job last week.
there you go. There you go, Joe. You got a vote of confidence.
Look at that.
There you go.
You took time off
Well,
and
and Lan's-
you got replaced on your own shows.
Yeah. Now they're doing great on LAN.
Well,
LAN, I think.
Yeah, everyone keeps telling me how great me and Wes are doing, and I love doing it with you, Wes.
It's been very much fun. Absolutely. Thank you for
So
having
there
me.
you go. See, Wes is
Chris,
he's
you're
already
fired.
replaced me. Yep. I know. First, Joe comes
Go
over.
do
And,
some community stuff. We'll take care of the shows.
Joe comes in and he
so-
takes over Linux Action Show, and
Then
then
a
he
lot
kicks
more
me out.
biting commentary.
Yeah.
So you're not
Expect a
doing
lot
LAN anymore. You're not
Yep.
doing LUP anymore.
No, I'm doing
and
LUP.
Wes and I are thinking of
Doing-
making
yeah.
a regular
there you
thing
go.
on text.
I'm
So
done.
what is it you do here exactly?
I'm going to be doing blogging.
Can you
and,
fix the soundboard?
Isn't Chris the CEO of the Jupiter segment now?
No, it doesn't work like that. No, I'm all done being CEO. That's somebody else's problem now. But guys, thank you very much for coming. I really appreciate it, and I hope to see you next Tuesday. Bye, everybody. Bye, guys. Have a great rest of your evening.
Later, Chris.
Take care.
Okay, see everyone.
Easy. All right. There we go. And there goes Joe. Okay, we're all done then.
Out of here.
Live stream, thank you very much. Hope you guys have a great rest of your day. The Knower program's coming up now. I will put it back to reruns for a bit, and then he will come in and take over the stream probably in about 15 minutes or so. So if you want to stick around, please do. The Astro program's
Enjoy.
coming up, and we will have the YouTube stream start back up at that time. So it'll be down for a bit, but it'll start back up. But the JB Live TV stream will continue with reruns until the Knower program comes on. Thank you guys very much for making it. Is there anything else we need to say, Wes? No, I guess not, huh?
No, I don't think so. I mean, just
Alright.
keep following them feeds.
Yeah.
And get pumped for that new user area. It really is. It
Yeah.
really is pretty darn excellent.
Well, hey, Joe's back. Hi, Joe. You came back.
He missed us.
Why'd you come
Yeah,
back? Oh.
it dawned on me that maybe I shouldn't have.
Okay, yeah, stay
I
on.
thought you might.
All right, stay on the line. Or I'm going to go off the live stream, but you can stay on the line. All right, so it's going to be loud here for a second while I play music, Joe, but it'll just be for a second. Live stream,
Okay.
thanks, guys, for being here. Stick around for the Knower program.